Hollywood glitters, and it bruises. Careers get written off, canceled, dragged through scandal. Yet a few rise brighter. What does it take to beat cancellation? Talent, grit, or refusing to fade? Silent Fame spotlights 5 LGBTQ+ and queer-coded stars who turn backlash, homophobia whispers, queerbaiting claims, messy headlines into fuel. A tribute to quiet power, authenticity, reinvention, pride. They didn't bow out. They became symbols. 1. Darren Criss, the Glee idol who defied cancellation. Darren Criss was never meant to become a global idol, at least not on paper. When he first strolled onto our TV screens as Blaine Anderson on Glee, bow tie perfectly in place, and a song on his lips, he did more than perform. He ignited something. With a smile as disarming as his soaring voice, Darren captured hearts worldwide. He wasn't just playing a role. To countless young viewers, he was queer love personified in prime time. For many, he became the first gay crush they ever saw on TV, proof that two boys singing a love duet could be as magical as any fairy tale romance. But that bright spotlight cast a long shadow. In reality, Darren wasn't gay, and the very role that rocketed him to fame suddenly put a target on his back. Whispers began. Was he queerbaiting? Why should a straight man reap awards for portraying queer characters while so many openly gay actors were sidelined? Social media, once his playground of praise, turned into a battleground of accusations. Overnight, Darren went from hero to suspect. The LGBTQ+ fans who had once lifted him up now eyed him with suspicion. Casting directors grew hesitant. To them, he was too Glee, too controversial, too hard to fit into Hollywood's neat leading man box. He drifted in a dangerous limbo, celebrated yet shunned, famous yet somehow forsaken. Darren wondered if he'd ever escape Blaine's long shadow. Then came the role that changed everything, Andrew Cunanan in The Assassination of Gianni Versace. Taking on another queer character while the wounds of controversy were still fresh was a gamble that could have ended him. Instead, it redeemed him. Darren vanished into Cunanan's skin with chilling intensity. On screen, he was magnetic and menacing, beautiful and horrifying all at once, a performance that made even skeptics' blood run cold. Critics who once doubted him now sang a different tune. Awards rained down. An Emmy, a Golden Globe, a Critics' Choice. The same Hollywood that had typecast him as a teen dream suddenly recognized him as a serious force. Freed from Blaine's confines, Darren re-emerged with quiet pride and fearless style. Broadway came calling, and he answered with show-stopping fervor. Fashion elites put him front row at the Met Gala, where he strutted in sequins and velvet, blurring the lines of gender with every daring ensemble. The very queer-coded aesthetic that once stirred backlash became his signature armor. Darren stopped apologizing for who he was in and started owning who he was, an artist devoted to truth on his own terms. His journey prompts an uneasy question. Do we judge actors by their identity or by the authenticity they bring to their art? Drop a 1 in the comments if you think Darren Criss is truly iconic. Don't forget to subscribe for more unapologetic Hollywood truths. 2. Jacob Elordi, the heartthrob who found power in chaos. Jacob Elordi seemed custom-built to be a Hollywood heartthrob. At 6'5", with a jawline that could cut glass and smoldering eyes made for magazine covers, he sprang to fame as the dreamy bad boy in Netflix's The Kissing Booth. Overnight, his face was on bedroom walls and social media feeds everywhere. He was the poster boy of teen romance, charming, safe, perfectly packaged. But beneath that glossy image, a question simmered. Was Jacob just another pretty face? Or was there something deeper, something he wasn't saying out loud? Some fans swooned over his every move. Others whispered if this golden boy might be hiding secrets behind that grin. It didn't take long for the shine to tarnish. Whispers turned to shouts as Jacob's off-screen life got messy. Paparazzi caught the fallout of one high-profile breakup after another, from a co-star to a celebrity socialite. And the tabloids feasted, painting him as a real-life player burning through romances. In interviews, his candor came off as cockiness, and social media swiftly labeled him arrogant and problematic. By his early 20s, Jacob teetered on the edge of cancellation before his career had even truly begun. Critics snickered that he'd be a one-hit wonder, a one-note teen idol who'd fade away once the girls moved on. Then, Jacob did something unexpected. He shattered his own image. HBO's Euphoria handed him the role of Nate Jacobs, a violent, volatile jock harboring twisted secrets. Jacob dove in headfirst. On screen, he became terrifying. A handsome devil you know you should hate but can't peel your eyes from. The risk was huge. Playing such a vicious character could have cemented the idea that Jacob himself was trouble. Instead, it did the opposite. It proved he could act, really act. Nate was more than a villain. He was a layered enigma with repressed desires creeping through cracks in his brutality. Queer viewers wondered if Jacob had tapped something personal to portray Nate's repressed desires so convincingly. That mystery only amplified his magnetism. Still, real-life drama trailed him like a shadow. Yet against all odds, he didn't fade. He leveled up. In 2023's edgy thriller Saltburn, Jacob luxuriated in another dangerously seductive queer-coded role that left audiences buzzing. No longer was he that Netflix kid. He was walking the Met Gala carpet in custom couture, gracing GQ and Vogue with a brooding glare, and being hailed as Hollywood's next risk-taking leading man. Jacob Elordi's appeal isn't polished perfection, it's the tension between his angelic looks and his penchant for chaos. One minute, he's the charming Aussie flashing a shy smile. The next, he's the untamable rebel setting fire to his own image. You might love him or loathe him, but you cannot ignore him. He stands at the crossroads of adored and despised, traditional heartthrob and queer-coded enigma. And that is his power. Drop a 2 in the comments if you think Jacob Elordi has transformed his chaos into true icon status. Don't forget to subscribe for more unapologetic Hollywood truths. 3. Ben Hardy, the scandal-touched star, who refused to fade. Ben Hardy has the kind of classic beauty that Hollywood can't resist. Angelic blonde hair, piercing blue eyes, a profile sharp enough to cut glass. When he burst onto the scene as Queen's roguish drummer Roger Taylor in Bohemian Rhapsody, it was like he'd stepped straight out of a vintage rock and roll poster. Overnight, Ben went from a British soap opera alum to one of the most buzzed-about young actors in Hollywood. Casting directors took notice. Fans swooned. He seemed poised to become the next golden boy. But Hollywood's shine comes with shadows, and Ben's ascent hit a storm almost as quickly. Gossip columns insinuated that Ben's success came from something other than talent. Whispers of a casting couch deal cast an ugly question mark over his rise. At the same time, blind items hinted at an entangled love life. One week he's linked with a stunning starlet, the next he's photographed looking too close with a male friend. Suddenly, everyone was gossiping about who Ben was sleeping with instead of the roles he was landing. He became the scandalous boy toy du jour, with salacious rumors threatening to eclipse his talent. For a moment, it looked like the bright young thing might burn out. Big studios grew wary. Hollywood has never liked a star it can't neatly label. The phone stopped ringing, roles vanished, red carpet invites dried up. It looked like his rising star might quietly suffocate under the weight of whispers, but Ben Hardy wasn't about to let that happen. Instead of chasing the blockbuster fame that had slipped away, he made a sharp left turn. He dove into indie films with meaty roles and prestige TV projects that let him show depth beyond the pretty face. With each new part, he sharpened his craft, shedding the tabloid image bit by bit. And Hollywood gradually noticed the transformation. Before long, Ben was back on red carpets, on his own terms. Fashion houses that once kept their distance now vied to dress him in bespoke couture. Photographers couldn't get enough of his smoldering, stoic poses. Vogue suddenly hailed him as one of cinema's freshest faces. The very press that once fixated on his scandals now couldn't stop praising his style and talent. It was as if every rumor he'd endured only added to the intrigue that set him apart. What makes Ben's rise so gripping is how he handled the noise. With silence and calculated moves. He never took the bait. He never publicly labeled his sexuality, never dignified the gossip with a yes or no. That ambiguity became his secret weapon. Queer fans saw what they wanted in him. Straight fans kept on crushing, and everyone in between simply couldn't look away. Ben Hardy turned a potential cancellation into a tantalizing second act. The scandals that once nearly sunk him have become part of his legend, a reminder that in Hollywood, a little danger can make you unforgettable. Drop us a 3 in the comments if you think Ben Hardy's comeback turned him into an icon. Don't forget to subscribe for more unapologetic Hollywood truths. 4. Noah Centineo, the boyfriend who broke the internet's heart. For a hot minute, Noah Centineo was everybody's crush. He wasn't just a Netflix rom-com hero, he was dubbed the internet's boyfriend. With that easy crooked smile, tousled curls, and goofy charm, Noah skyrocketed to fame in To All the Boys I've Loved Before like an overnight fairy tale. One day, he was a virtual unknown. The next, his face was plastered on TikTok edits, Instagram fan pages, and teen magazine covers. Hollywood had found its new Prince of Heartthrobs, and the world happily handed him the crown. But in the age of social media, the same crowds that cheer can just as easily jeer. As quickly as Noah was lifted up, he was knocked back down to earth. Old tweets crept out of the shadows, some problematic, others plain bizarre. His offbeat, stoner philosopher interviews became meme fodder. Suddenly, that earnest charm people loved about him started to look like a put-on. Tabloids poked at his every misstep, from a messy situationship splashed across gossip sites to cringy quotes about love and energy. In the court of public opinion, Noah Centineo was swiftly deemed fake, a one-trick pony. In the eyes of the internet, he was effectively canceled. Many young stars would have crumbled. But Noah? He went practically radio silent and got to work on a quiet reinvention. The next time he surfaced, fans had to do a double take. Gone was the lanky, boy-next-door heartthrob. In his place stood a brooding young man with muscle on his frame, scruff on his jaw, and a newfound edge to his style. On red carpets, Noah ditched the preppy teen hoodies for oversized blazers, pearls, and gender-blurring fashion that made everyone do a double take. Was it a phase, a statement, a hint about his sexuality, or just a refusal to play by the old rules? Noah gave no answers, and that only stoked the intrigue. Freed from the rom-com boy pigeonhole, Noah's career took a daring turn. He hit the gym for a DC superhero blockbuster, led a slick spy thriller series, even tackled indie dramas where he played flawed, complex souls far from any perfect boyfriend. With each new role, the smirks faded, revealing not just his layers, but his sheer perseverance. Noah Centineo's journey from adored to abhorred and back again is a masterclass in silent resilience. He never clapped back at the haters or pleaded for a second chance. Instead, he transformed, physically, professionally, stylistically, until the noise just didn't matter. In an era obsessed with oversharing, Noah chose mystique. Now he's stepping onto red carpets not as the internet's fallen sweetheart, but as a man on his own terms. A little dangerous, a lot unpredictable, and absolutely impossible to pigeonhole. Will he ever spill the truth behind his transformation, or keep us all guessing? Drop a 4 in the comments if you think Noah Centineo's rebirth has made him truly iconic. Don't forget to subscribe for more unapologetic Hollywood truths. 5. Lucas Hedges, the indie prodigy who embraced the in-between. Lucas Hedges never read as the typical Hollywood leading man, and that became his strength. From the start, this soft-spoken kid disappeared into roles and left audiences breathless. In films like Manchester by the Sea, Lady Bird, and Boy Erased, Lucas proved himself to be an actor of uncanny depth, all quiet vulnerability and raw emotion. By his early 20s, he'd racked up award nominations and critical praise that actors twice his age would envy. Lucas was the indie darling who seemed untouchable by Hollywood's superficial standards. But even indie darlings aren't immune to scrutiny. As Lucas's profile grew, so did whispers. He gravitated towards emotionally complex, often queer characters, and that ambiguity made Hollywood unsure what box to put him in. Soon, the questions grew louder. Was Lucas Hedges gay? Or was a straight actor merely dabbling in queer roles for clout? The pressure to define himself mounted with each interview and red carpet appearance. In 2018, at the height of the speculation, Lucas finally offered a glimmer of an answer, and it was as nuanced as the man himself. He acknowledged that he's not totally straight, choosing his words carefully. Hollywood's reaction was mixed. Some applauded his candor, seeing it as a refreshing rejection of rigid labels. Others snarled that he was trying to have it both ways, enjoying the cachet of a queer persona without fully committing to coming out. Lucas was suddenly caught in a culture war. Too queer for some, not queer enough for others. For many young actors, that kind of identity tug-of-war could have been career-ending. Hollywood is ruthless with those who confuse its categories. But Lucas Hedges met the chaos with quiet defiance. He didn't launch a PR campaign or plead his case. Instead, he let his work speak. He doubled down on roles that pushed boundaries and made him feel something real. In Boy Erased, he poured every ounce of empathy into portraying a gay teenager enduring conversion therapy. It wasn't just acting, it was empathy in motion. His performances quietly declared that truth mattered more to him than labels. And a funny thing happened. The very qualities that once sparked suspicion about him became the reasons filmmakers and fans were drawn to him. As the noise around his personal life faded into the background, a new image of Lucas emerged, not as a traditional movie star, but as a symbol of authenticity for a generation tired of binaries. Fashion magazines began featuring him not for wild outfits, but for that intriguing aura. The mix of shy and bold that made designers eager to dress him. On the red carpet, he never shouted for attention, yet cameras found him irresistible. In an era of loud personalities, Lucas thrived on a different frequency. Subtle, sincere, comfortable in the in-between. Lucas Hedges' journey proves that sometimes being canceled isn't an ending at all, it's a chrysalis. He took the skepticism and snark and turned them into fuel for reinvention. Now he stands as a quiet icon, proof that a star doesn't need a label to shine. Did Lucas merely survive the fire of scrutiny, or emerge stronger because of it? Perhaps the answer lies in the powerful silence he's kept, letting us fill in the blanks ourselves. Drop a 5 in the comments if you think Lucas Hedges has turned quiet resilience into true icon status. Don't forget to subscribe for more unapologetic Hollywood truths. If any of these arcs cracked you open, hold that feeling. No one owes us a comeback. They built one anyway. Brick by brick, choice by choice, truth by truth. Tell us who earned it. Drop 1 for Darren Criss, 2 for Jacob Elordi, 3 for Ben Hardy, 4 for Noah Centineo, 5 for Lucas Hedges. Say where you're watching from and pin the moment that changed your mind. Like this video to push these stories further, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a chapter of Silent Fame. And if you're rebuilding after your own fall, remember, a bad headline isn't an ending. Keep going. We're rooting for your second act.